Hello, this is Charles Tippy from the Ed Services Department, and in this tutorial, site coordinators will learn how to run the test participation reports in the SBAC online reporting system. And this is information you need to know for monitoring your students as far as makeup testing and ensuring that all kids finish the test. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go to our Friendly District SBAC page, and you can do that by clicking on the favorite in your Chrome browser or simply type this into your web browser. And I'll go ahead and do that now. And the site coordinator page is over on the left hand side of the screen, so we'll go ahead and click right here. And then we're going to scroll down underneath resources and click on the SBAC portal link. Then we're going to click on field tests. Click on the online reporting for California users. And then another thing to point out, you want to make sure that whenever you're on the SBAC portal that you see this orange California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. You want to make sure you're not on the actual SBAC consortium site because you won't be able to log into that. So I'm going to log in. The username is always the district email address, and then password is whatever you chose. Alright, and if you click on this little question mark here, this is going to bring you to the full user guide and a lot of information that explains how to use this entire system. I'm going to be pointing out just a couple of key points that you'll use, and these are things you'll use for the majority of the time. And in the system you have two separate options. The test completion rates link, that'll give you aggregate information as far as how many kids have tested at your school. So it's going to tell you, right now you have 80% of your students tested, and it's in the aggregate, so it won't give you any information by student or by test administrator. So we're going to focus on the plan and manage testing link. And you can see three different steps here. So the first one, we're going to choose what are we looking at. And in this case, I'm going to do the high school ELA test. And then step 2, choose who I want to look at. And yours will just have your site listed. It also gives you an option to select the personnel. So these are your test administrators. And this information is useful, but keep in mind that it will only give you information on students that tested with that TA administrator. So for the most part, we're going to leave this set to all. And there might be some cases where you would get specific like that, but I think for the most part you want this at all. Also, if you click on this definitions button right here, you can see it'll give you information regarding all the new vocabulary that's listed in this resource. Okay, and then step 3, we want to get specific. You can play around with these different options. For the most part, you're going to click on this one, and we're going to leave the status at any. Now you can go through and get a list of students who are completely done, so that would be reported, or look at any of these other situations, but for the most part we're going to leave this at any, and then we're going to click on export report. If you're on a Mac, it's going to open up down on your screen right here, or it might go to your downloads. But anyways, you're going to want to open up the file, and then you're going to get a spreadsheet of information, which is pretty good for the most part. You can see it does give you the student's SSID number. Notice that it doesn't give you the local student ID number, which is used for a lot of things that we do. It'll give you the test, opportunity. All the students are going to have opportunity 1, and then it also gives you the test administrator's name, the session ID, and then the status. The status, as you can see here, reported means that the student is completely done with that test, and in this case it's the high school ELA test. If you see a student that has a status of paused, this means that the student is on question 22 of 27. This student would be on question 3 of 27, and that's what you'll typically see for the most part. The restarts here, this column indicates that the student has logged into the test. In this case, for the student, it would be 2 times. So maybe the student took the test in 2 separate days. Maybe they started the test, had to leave the classroom to go to the restroom, and then come back. That's what that column indicates. And then you can see over here the date started, date completed, and the date of the last activity. So this, depending on how your testing is set up, for the most part, you probably know who your proctors are, and at this school, this would be the English teacher. If you're at an elementary school, then this would be useful information. But in a lot of cases, we want to know additional information. So if you're pulling students out of class for makeup testing, you might want to know their second period teacher. You might want to send dialers home to the parents to remind them to show up for makeup testing. So a lot of additional information that we can't get out of the ORS that we'll want to use an external database to extract that information and merge it together. So in part 2 of the tutorial, that's what we'll be covering, and that will show you how to pull the data out of external systems and then merge it with your test information from the SBAC system.